what would you say to anyone listening right now that feels completely stuck in life? They're banging their head up against a wall. They've lost hope. They've lost confidence. They don't know anymore really what they want. They just know that they're not happy and they want a change in life, but they feel completely and utterly stuck. Everything they've tried hasn't worked. They've lost all confidence that anything is going to work. What would you say to someone listening right now that's in that place?
I would say search for something that gives you even just a little bit of sparkle of joy. Is anything that makes you feel good, a little bit of excitement. I mean, you are alive. So is there anything that's good about being alive? And then go with that, follow that. If it's animals, learning about animals or, petting animal, could that take you somewhere? Do you want to volunteer somewhere? Do you want to help an animal? Is there some sports that's really, really exciting for you? Is there something that you can do in that direction? So you have to, you have to stir it, right? You can't just let yourself be stagnant. Then you're going to be stuck forever. You have to go in somewhere. So by you looking for sparks of joy and excitement, and then you're turning the pot, you're letting things brew, and then the universe will make things happen too. That something will come together. You're going to meet somebody, you're going to encounter some subjects, and that's going to trigger this flow of energy. And then you can find your way. But you go search for joy. No pun intended. That's
I was going to say joy. Joy, search for joy. Joy, I like it. That's the theme of the episode. No, but I think I love that advice. I really resonate with that because actually when we're in that place, the natural thing is to avoid doing things we enjoy doing and avoid joy because we're thinking, how could I go and enjoy something when I've got this monumental problem in front of me? I'm going to wait till the problem's solved. And like so many things in life, it's often the opposite of what we feel like doing is what's going to help. And it makes so much sense because if it takes you out of it, brings some joy back, you can think creatively again, you're reminded of what you care about, you're more likely to meet people, things open up. And I think we find a lot of these things hard because we crave certainty and so many things that propel us forward we've got to do in uncertainty. We don't know. Again, we go back to your story. You didn't know. You didn't even know if you'd get into America. Then you got into America. You didn't know what direction you'd go. You didn't know if things will work out. But you had to keep going and finding that joy yourself and finding where your curiosity took you. And there's no way you could get to where you are now if you didn't do that. If you were just sitting there saying, I crave certainty, you probably would have never left China and stayed working a 9-to-5 job there, or I don't know, I doubt you would have done anything. And I think that's what we all need to remind ourselves is there is no complete certainty in life. We've got to be okay with uncertainty and learn how to move forward in that uncertainty.
Yeah. And to be honest, I was in that place of being stuck. When I was in medical school, actually, I was in a place where I was not happy. And I actually couldn't foresee myself as ever been happy. I remember distinctly at age 29, walking into a room where everybody's talking, having a good time. And I was thinking, I'm just so unhappy. And I just don't see how I can ever be happy again because I had certain expectations of myself. And I thought I failed my expectations. So then I couldn't see a way out. What did I do? I had to search. I have to search for a reason to stay around in this world. And I went to temples, churches, I was in bookstores, I read books. I was looking for a reason to continue to exist. So, and while you're searching, then things will become clear. Then you will start to understand. I did psychotherapy as well. I wanted to because I was a little bit of a mess. I had these high expectations of myself, which trapped me into a state of discontent and disappointment. So how do you get out of that? and I was arguing with my therapist about whether or not I was good enough. I kept telling him that I'm just not good enough. He kept telling me, yes, you are. We had this argument for weeks. So, that's a form of searching. That's a form of looking at how you've come to where you are and understand that the path, which could be a path that trapped you into a place that's not helpful. And can you get off that path, that wrong path, the wrong track? So there's a way to get out of that, but you have to search. It was painful. It was painful not loving yourself, not wanting to be here because of just not believing yourself. So that's where I was at. But going from that, now I can come to this day feeling gratitude, feeling appreciative of the incredible life I have, and having all these amazing things I'm working on that's making a big difference in the world. And I have all these people who love me and people who are a fan of me, who I inspire. So that's from that dark place to this place is possible. But healing is through layers and layers. You get better and better and better. It's not that you were down one day and the next day that is bright sunshine, you're healed. It's a journey. It took a long time to come to where I'm at now. But the key is that you just keep on searching. You keep on growing.
And do we need to become okay with accepting that things are going to be painful and uncomfortable and we're going to feel all these different emotions? Because I don't think there is any other way to get where you want to get in life. Like, things are going to be good sometimes, bad, we're going to feel everything. And again, that uncertainty thing, a lot of the time it's, well, if we block ourselves from that, we'll just stay stuck. Do you think there's any other way, or is part of the message to people, you've got to be okay with feeling the discomfort?
I think this is one reason why spirituality is important. If you just are keeping yourself at this thinking level of this world that you can see, everything you can see, all the psychology, sociology, everything that you can perceive, and you're trapped in this one way of looking at the world, then I think it's hard to fully accept everything when you don't know who you really are. So I think a spiritual understanding of who we are as consciousness is going to really, really help people, because we're more than just what we can see. So that part, I think, I don't know how many people, if you just use psychology and you just keep talking and talking, and yes, you can go through traumas, but without a spiritual anchoring, I think it's hard to be truly happy and free.
And that can be any, it doesn't have to be religion. It can be any spiritual anchor that works for you. And I agree. There's got to be something. There's got to be something bigger. And it might be your mission. For me, a lot of that spiritual anchor is that mission of trying to have these kind of conversations around mental health and, help people through it. And because you can, when you're having a bad day, you remind yourself, why am I doing it? What's actually important? Let's zoom out. Forget about whether things are going well or not going well, whether I'm making money or not, recognition, fame, etc. Remove everything. What am I actually doing it for? And then you're like, oh, okay. You can ground yourself instantly. And then you can deal with, okay, things might not have gone how I wanted, but it's okay, because even if they were going how I wanted, the same core thing, that spiritual part, it's always remaining the same. Life makes sense backwards, but has to be lived forwards, is one of my favorite sayings.
Yeah. And just go for it. Just, it will become clear.
What does it mean to be living in alignment?
Living in alignment is when what you want to get out of life, and as far as what feeds your soul, is actually what the universe wants you to do. So there's a purpose for you. There's the right path. And if what make you feel good is actually your path, you're drawn to it, and actually you step into the path, then you're in total alignment. You will be living in bliss.
Yeah, absolutely. And how many people do you think are actually finding that path versus? Oh, sorry. So did it? I think there's something. One sec. Was I talking over you?
No.
Oh, I'm just gonna. Okay, I'm gonna start again. I think just because there's such a lag happening, I was like, it was pausing while you were talking. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm just gonna like sort of wait a bit if it does that and just see,
Oh, I
so I know
see.
what's going on.
Okay.
Anyway, so I'm so sorry. I'll just go back into that first question. We'll just start again, saying it happened at the beginning.
Oh, from the very beginning, or from finishing last question.
I guess so. It didn't. As long as I didn't talk over the top of you. Okay, I'll just go from the second question then.
Yeah.
So, how many people do you think are living in alignment from, like you've described there? How many people do you think are stuck?
I think the problem is a lot of people are not thinking whether or not they want alignment. They're living day to day without much thought. They're getting by. And maybe life will throw a curveball at them. And then they are thinking about what the purpose is. So I think people are not living consciously enough. I don't know how many are, actually are seeking. A lot of seekers. Um, of course, I may be surrounding myself with a particular population, people who are seeking, right? I work with different doctors. I work with my staff who may be interested in doing better for their health and their personal development. I may be seeing patients who really have been seeking for solutions. So these are tend to be seekers. But as far as the general population is, it's really hard to say. But I think even there are different levels of consciousness. A person doesn't need to think a whole lot to be in alignment. I think some people are just naturally just want a happy life, right? They just want to enjoy their family, their friends, and they make a living, and then they're in alignment with their purpose. So some people have higher purposes, more of a calling. So for me, to bring healing to the world, to relieve sufferings of a lot of people, that is my calling. So that takes some extra effort, right? Rather than just enjoy life and be around family. That's my purpose, which is to make an impact. So that may need some extra consciousness and effort to achieve. So it's really hard to say. I'm hoping at least a half of people are in alignment. I hope.
No, but I like that answer because really, it sounds like the biggest part of that is not whether you are or aren't or where your life's at, but more how do I start thinking about some of these things? Because maybe I'm not giving myself that space or taking the time out to really think about, am I just going through the motions? Am I actually happy with where things are at, or have I just accepted the status quo? Because
Yeah.
it's very easy for us to get stuck in that status quo.
Yeah. My solution years ago, I've always kind of fast forward to the last day. I've always wanted to know, like, when I actually die, because we're all going to die. When I die, at that moment, when I look back, am I going to say, "Hey, that was pretty darn good," and that's what I wanted to achieve. So whatever I can think back and feel really, really good and proud about how this life was lived, and that will tell me whether or not that life was lived in alignment with my purpose. So I encourage people to do a little fantasy test for the last day.
Exactly. I think about that a lot, and I think it can be scary to think about the fact we all are going to die, but at the same time, it
Mhm.
can be really liberating because it instantly puts it in perspective. You know, if you're thinking on your deathbed, am I going to be looking back on my life and regretting that I didn't have more status or more money at this point or this, that, the other? Probably not. Am I going to be regretting that I didn't make enough time for the people I cared about, for the experiences that really were important to me, for standing up for a cause that was really, whatever it is? That's probably what you're going to regret. And it's a filter. It's confronting, but it's a great filter to really get rid of all of the bullshit and remind yourself about what's important.